Hello everybody and welcome back to Gardens and Crystals with me, Wesley Peterson, and today we are in Yorkim's Corner here at Crystal Cottage in the area that I am building up my Hosta collection. And you can see all the pots around me with all the different varieties of this beautiful plant I have. And well, I've been out raiding the rack and I came home with 5 more varieties and I can't wait to show you those all up closer. And while I was out there, I also bought myself some new black recycled pots because these are going to have to be potted up so that I can put them around. Because these are going to have to be potted up and I'll try again. Because these are going to be potted up and put along the edge of my... Now it's getting beyond a joke. That train needs to stop beeping. I'll wait a moment because these plants need to be potted up into bigger pots so I can put them around the edge here and continue this lovely Hosta collection. And I also want to put them in pots that I'm not going to have to take in for the winter. They're going to stay out exactly where I put them and survive the winter, and they will come up again the next year because these are perennial plants that come back again and again, and that's why they're fantastic as pot plants. And they're very easy, apart from, yes, you need to be careful with slugs and so forth and snails because they love to munch on these plants. They're very edible for them and they are very edible for us. When the new shoots come up in the spring, you can fry them and so forth and eat them because they are in the asparagus family. So they're very edible, but I've never tried eating them so far because I want to see all the beautiful leaves come out. But first, let me just show you some of these pots that I bought because they're absolutely fantastic for these plants. So first of all, I got these pots here, and these are 30cm pots, and you can see they're absolutely perfect for putting smaller hostas in, and they'll be able to survive in these pots for the winter. They'll be insulated in them and they're absolutely fine. The only thing is they didn't come with drainage holes, so I'll just have to put some holes in the bottom because it's very important to make sure you have drainage for your hostas. They like to be moist, but they do not like to be sitting in water or soaked. And at the moment it's been raining an awful lot, so my plants are very wet actually, but they seem to be enjoying it anyway. So this is the next size I got. This is size 40cm, and again, no holes in the bottom, so they'll just have to be drilled in. And these are perfect for some more of my hostas. Hostas are wonderful. The more they grow, the more you can upgrade them to bigger pots, but let them fill out their pots first before you do that, and then you can go in and split them and do whatever you want with them. So now then, let's get on and have a look at the beautiful new Hosta varieties I have to show you today. So look at this little cutie. And it even has a purple flower bud coming out now. It's the end of August and they're still budding out. Isn't that amazing? This little beauty is called Hosta Blue Cadet. And it has these lovely kind of pointed leaves, and you can see the veining going on in them that goes down, which is quite typical of hostas, veins that streak downwards and splay out to the sides. And it's a very beautiful little hosta. So look at that closer up. Absolutely wonderful little flower, and then the leaves are absolutely wonderful too. Hosta Blue Cadet. And remember, these are only small now, but they do get bigger. So the next beautiful hosta I have to show you here is called Hosta Permafrost, and it has this very frosty kind of grey blue sheen to the leaves and this yellow margin around the edge, and it's all very pastel like. Very beautiful hosta. So have a little look at this closer up. Look at those gorgeous leaves. Aren't they lovely? Scrumptious, absolutely beautiful. So this is Hosta Permafrost with its frosty looking coloration. So I have another little interesting hosta for you to see here. This is a bit dirty, this one. Let's have a little look. Clean off the leaves just a little bit so you can look at it better. So, that looks a bit better. This beautiful little hosta has a Japanese name, and I find it very, very difficult to pronounce, and that's why all the names are going to be on the screen anyway, but I'm going to try. This is Hosta Tokudama Flavociricinalis. And as I said, the name is on the screen because I probably butchered that one more than I do many of the other names of plants. But anyway, look at this closer up. Isn't that a beautiful hosta? Again, darker green in the middle, yellow around the edge, kind of heart-shapey leaves, strong veining going on behind the leaves. Look there. Beautiful. Absolutely wonderful plant. And you can see how this one spreads out very much, very stiffly as a big kind of star. I love that shape. Another wonderful hosta. And in a moment, I'm going to have to go and count how many different varieties of hosta I have here, because I actually can't remember right now. So now I have another little lovely hosta here. This one is called Hosta Snake Eyes, and the leaves are a little bit crinkly. They have the green around the edge this time and the white variegation in the middle, which is mixed between tones of light green and white and kind of splotchy, but they go long ways down the leaf. So they follow the leaf down into the petiole area. And it's really, really beautiful. Look at that. Very different, crinkly leaves and a wonderful variegation going on in it. The beautiful Hosta Snake Eyes. Yep, I'm going to enjoy seeing that grow out. So that is lovely. So now the last hosta I have to show you is a well-known hosta. Many people have it, many people want it, and they want it because the flowers of this plant are very fragrant and smell beautiful. White fragrant flowers. And one of you viewers out there told me in my last hosta raiding the rack video to go out and find me a Hosta Guacamole because of that fact that they have beautiful fragrance. Well, I did that. I followed your advice, and now I have me a Hosta Guacamole. This one is a little bit pale limey yellow at the moment, but I know that it will get a darker green and be kind of two tones of green. So that I'll look forward to when this has settled down in its pot and flushed out again with its new leaves next season. But we can have a look at it how it is for now. So there it is, the wonderful and beautifully fragrant flowered Hosta Guacamole. And this one is flowering because if you see here, oh, and look there, there's a spider crawling around protecting my plant. So that's cool. But here I want to show you there is a flower coming out on this plant. So I might get to see and smell that before the season's up this year to see how good it smells. So that was the more well-known variety, Hosta Guacamole. And now I've gone through all 5 of my new hostas for my hosta collection. So I just want to have a little count so I have an inventory of how many different varieties I have right now. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and I have 1 out in the garden, that's 18, and I have 1 at our apartment, that's 19. No, I have 2 at our apartment, that's 20. So I have 20 varieties that I can think of right now. I don't know if I have any more hiding around and about in the garden anywhere, but 20 different varieties of hosta. No, 21. I forgot that I have my hosta out in the garden right next to me here. So as I said, I could have more round and about. So that was 21 different varieties of hosta I have in my collection already. And the collection is just going to grow. I know that I'm never going to get the amount of hostas that there are in the world. There are over 1,500 different species. Some are very rare. Some need specific environments to live in. And some are just not available on the market in the countries where we live. So I'll enjoy collecting the ones that I can get my hands on, and, well, as much as I have pot space for, because Otherwise, this isn't going to work out. But I'm thinking I'm going to get some kind of system on both sides here where I have 2 or 3 layers where I'll be able to put the pots standing up on 2 or 3 layers on each side, and then the bigger pots at the back behind me here. Isn't that going to be gorgeous? Then I'll be able to have a lot more hostas. But before I end this video, I'm going to take you in for a closer look of all the hostas I have here right now. And I want to do that because I want to show you the reality of owning hosta plants. We all know they get a lot of slugs and snails and so forth on them, and this year we've had a very wet and rainy season. It has been raining for weeks on end, and the slugs and the snails are prolific all over the place right now. So I've lifted as many of my hostas up out of the ground and put them into pots behind me, because otherwise they are just completely munched away to the ground. And that is why a lot of the hostas you'll see here do have holes and some leaves that have been damaged right down to the bottom of the stems. And that is because I've lifted them out of the ground and tried to save them. Some have produced more new leaves in the meantime and they're starting to look better. But they do much better in pots here because they're elevated. The ground is gravelly here, so snails and slugs don't like that as much. And I have wood chips on top of the soil in the pots, and they don't like that much either. So you can do certain things that can protect your hostas a little bit more. You can also spray them over often with garlic spray. So crush a whole clove of garlic in boiling water, boil it up, and then use a little bit of that water together with a litre of extra water and spray your plants over. Do that very often, and you will help to keep the slugs and snails away as well. They don't like that smell. When it rains, of course, that will just wash away, so you'll have to do it often. When it's dry, it will stay on the plants a longer period. So you can do all sorts of things like that to control the slugs. I don't go around trying to kill slugs anymore because there are so many, there's no point. I have to find methods of just controlling the situation. They're also here for a purpose. They're here to recycle dead and dying material. They're here to keep control of the plants and so forth in the wild. So we just have to work around nature, especially as I have a nature garden here in the middle of the countryside. So I cannot be going around collecting and doing all sorts of things with slugs, and I most definitely don't want to put any kind of poison on the ground. We have so many different types of animals that come here, and they are very welcome. So anyway, that said, you will see on my Hosta Empress Wu, mostly that got really damaged out in the garden, and you will see the leaves that are left so far and how that's doing. So let's go and have that closer look. So here we go. This is one of the hostas that I showed you in my last video. And this is a hosta that I took up out of the ground in the garden because it was getting completely chewed up. But it's still not too bad. I have taken off the leaves that were really badly damaged, and these are the ones that are left, and they're okay. So look at the contrast between these two plants. Absolutely beautiful. And then all of the hostas that I've shown you in the video today. That I can't wait to go in and pot up. And look at the beautiful flowers. I love the flowers on hostas. There are many people that don't, and they go in and they prune them off. So just keep the foliage, but I love the flowers as well. And they are going to be going in these pots down here. So on this side, I have a few more. We'll start at the back here. No, we'll start down here. So I have this beautiful hosta here. This one's looking very well. And this one that I showed you in my last video, also doing wonderfully and has a flower coming out. These ones are doing beautifully. A few nibbled edges and so forth, you can see. And flowers that have gone over. A miniature variety down here with more coming out in the pot. That's wonderful to see. And then this one with a few streaks and bites in it. And these ones down here. another variety that's coming up with new babies, you can see down the edge, but this has been nibbled up a little bit. And then this lovely one, look at this, gorgeous, and that is looking perfect. And now we come to the Hosta Empress Wu, where I told you that I took this up out of the garden and most of the leaves were actually chewed right back. So there are only a few left when I saved the plant, or the two plants I had in two borders on both sides of my annex. But look how the leaves were completely shredded when they were out in the ground. And much worse than that, I mean, they were chewed right down to the bottom, most of the leaves. It flowered, had a lovely purple flower on it. So this is the stalk that's left that I need to go in and prune off. But that is what happened in the garden. But you can see, after being in the pot, I have these leaves left and they haven't got any worse. So they'll flush out beautifully next year. And then I have this lovely big one here. Look at these beautiful leaves. And these have been in the pot all this season. And you can see how wonderful these leaves are looking. There are a few, if you look down here, that have a few tiny holes. But apart from that, this plant is looking amazing, having been in the pot all season. So this is definitely going to work out better for me. So from the back side, the little area is like this, and it will get more and more packed with hostas with time. And I just want to have a little look at my fuchsia, and there will be a video coming up where I go in and do propagations on this plant, but I'm going to wait until it's finished flowering and before I prune it all the way back, ready to put back in the cellar for the winter, and then I will try and get myself some new plants out of it for next season. But they are beautiful. So that was my hostas in my hosta collection garden here in Joachim's Corner. And the empty pot you can see down on the right hand side is not hostas, that is actually a fern that will come up next season, so I need to put that somewhere else. So this just feels wonderful. And here, to show you the reality of it with my hostas in the ground in the garden, let's have a look down here under my beautiful ceramic pot. And you can see these hostas here have been chewed up quite severely. Look at that leaf at the back there. Look at this leaf here. Not much of that left. And at the back, lots of holes in it. And on this side, they've disappeared because the hostas are all the way around. They will come up again next year. And then here, look at these ones. Badly damaged, badly bitten up. We all know the story, we all know it happens. So I want to show you the reality of it in the garden, on the ground, when it's wet and rainy. You can't stop the slugs. Look at it. This is why the other side is empty. This one has only 2 leaves left and they're nearly completely munched down. So I am going to be going in and lifting these and potting them up, and they will be absolutely wonderful again next year. You can see what they look like. So I'm not worried. Now there's one perfect leaf here in the ground. Look at this, next to the other one here that's completely chewed up. So if I get in now today, I can save this and see that beautiful coloration. Look at that, there's grey in there, there's light green and dark green yellow. Lovely. Even this leaf is absolutely beautiful, and look at the pool of water in it. It looks beautiful. So it's just a matter of going in, lifting up the root ball, because the plants will bounce back. They're perennials, as I said, so they'll be back the next season. But in the ground, in this wet condition, it doesn't work for me at the moment. So we'll go into Joachim's Corner and I will show you some more hostas I have in the ground. I have an area here that's more secluded, surrounded by lots of different plants and in gravel ground. I split these up and I've split them up every year now, and that's why these are looking a little bit sparse. There are lots of root balls in the ground and they will come up better next year. A lot of the leaves here are okay, but the slugs have been in. If I look down here, these ones are broken and eaten up. Look at the ground here. Right back to the ground, you have a stalk here with nothing on it. You have a leaf that's down in the soil. And then you have these leaves here that are beautiful, but with holes in. So they are being eaten, but some of the leaves are still almost perfect. Look at these. And look at this one. This one is absolutely beautiful. And then these ones are chewed back. So this was my Hosta Patriot in this border here. And because I've split them so many times, I think they're going to come up thicker next year. And then I will put some kind of top dressing on to help stop the slugs coming in as much as they are now. And that's it in comparison to the corner where I have all my different hostas in pots. So I really hope you enjoyed having a closer look and seeing the reality of hostas, because there are many videos online where hostas look absolutely 100% perfect with no holes in their leaves and so forth, but that is extreme situations where these plants are kept under extreme control. But when you have hostas out in your garden, the reality will not be that. The reality will be you will have plants that have holes in them a lot of the time. And you know what? I am just going to embrace that. I am just going to take that as part of the plants, do what I can, but accept them as they are. There's no such thing as being able to keep plants in a natural garden 100% perfect. Imperfections are part of the perfection of what is life. So let's just accept that. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this Raid in the Rack video with more of my hostas in my hosta collection, and that you go out and find yourself some beautiful hostas yourself. It's August, as I said. There's only a couple of months before all of these plants will wither down and disappear for the winter for many, many months, and then they'll come back up next May. So all I have to say now is thank you very much once again for watching Gardens and Crystals with me, Wesley Peterson. Please remember to like, subscribe and hit the bell so you know when my next video will be coming up. And I will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.